Welcome, everyone, to another fun and informative channeling session with Starseed Lolo. I'm your co host, Michael, and I will be asking the questions during the show. So if you have any, feel free to put them in the comment section. And you all are in for a treat with who's coming through today. We just found out. And so, with that, I'm going to turn it over to Starseed to let you know the rest.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me back. As always, Michael, you're so gracious to do that. And I really enjoy channeling with you because it's an interaction that we're both doing with them and with both of our higher selves. It's really all our higher selves that we're reflecting back to each other. It's not even necessarily an entity, more of like an energy, if that makes sense. And what I was getting is that the jovial purple mantis are coming back, and we'll see who else jumps in. And I'm ready when you are.
Well, I say let's, as probably the Jovials would say, let's get the show started. Let the party start.
Yep. Let the party start. Oh, yeah. They were talking about having a party with us last time. Let's darken it a little in here. Set the mood. There we go. All right. Hello, sir. We are the Jovial Mantis. How are you?
I am well. How are you?
Doing peachy.
Well, can we do anything to help raise your vibration? Well, it's going to be a fun time. Vibration to peachy keen, as we say here.
Just being in this show is already raising our vibration. And as you say, we are ready for a party. Are you ready? Let's go.
Let's go. So, what are we going to party about?
You, me, us, existence.
That's an epic party.
It is. It's an everlasting, epic, magical, beautiful party of consciousness. The all. The all. We are the all.
To get the party started, how, if I may ask, do you all celebrate events, or do you not celebrate events and just enjoy the moment?
A little bit of both. If we are in a reality in which we have a body container, consciousness container, we do have celebrations, as you say, with dancing and singing and music and fun and games. And if we are consciousness, which we're actually both at once, just like you are both at once, without a body consciousness container, we are also having fun. However, that is more of an instant manifestation of fun of any reality.
You mentioned games. What kind of games do you play when you're in physical form?
It's, as you call it, pass the hot potato around the room. It is more of like an energetic ball that is passed around from one to another, to another, to another. And each being gets to say and do as they wish, while everyone else watches or participates as they wish.
That sounds like a really fun game, actually.
It is. You should try it.
Yeah, we'll have to upgrade our games, it sounds like. What type of events do you celebrate? Uh, like what's a cause for a party where you guys are besides enjoying the day?
The birth of a new soul fractal in our consciousness collective, as well as when they are going, as you say, to the other side, crossing over. That is also a celebration because it is continual, infinite life force and everything in between, which can be anything deemed a celebration. It can not only be a holiday, in which we have some odd holidays that are based on your lunar cycle. On top of those lunar cycle events, as you say, the full moon, the new moons, solar eclipses, and lunar eclipses, which we do not have because our moon was not placed and we are no longer on a planet. However, we still adopt this solar and lunar eclipse energy as far as celebrations, as you say. As far as a birthday, you only have one birthday, which is kind of odd. And yes, synchronistic that this comes up because it is Laura's birthday tomorrow. We don't really continually celebrate them. However, just having consciousness and being alive is exciting and cause for celebration at any time for us as well. So we like to party a lot.
You might have something there because we like to mark our age and celebrate each year or solar year, and so might be better instead if we celebrated just the life of someone every day instead of one day.
Yes, that is one perspective and one way to try it.
What type of music do you all enjoy? Is there any music here on the Earth realm that you enjoy? I'm sure Starseed's music you enjoy, but any others?
We have a combination of a banjo, guitar, violin in one that is very popular, or the monstra. It's a uh, a staple in our culture, the monstra. As well, we have a version of the piano and organ that goes together, and many others. Those are two of the main ones. We also love anything from classical type music to binary beats and everything in between. It does not always have to have words. Sometimes it has our language. Other times it's just the telepathic energy of the music notes themselves.
Is the music a lot of times verbal and something auditory, in other words, that everyone can hear? Or do you play the music through telepathy?
A little bit of both, as we were starting to explain. Sometimes, rarely, it does have elements of what used to be our verbal language before we were all telepathic. Most of the time, it is instrumental, as you call it.
So, through history, do you enjoy any like moments of music or celebrations here on the Earth realm? And if so, which ones?
We always love a good party. However, if we have to pick some lunar cycle celebrations, or as a lot of starseeds do, full moon rituals, new moon rituals, that kind of thing. Again, the energy, which we actually kind of borrow from you all. Anytime there is an eclipse, we are around physically.
Well, I am sure if there's ever times where we are partying here on our planet, you all are so welcome to join in.
many appreciation for this invitation. We do love to dance. And our dancing energy sometimes is swirling around you when you are feeling jovial or ha ha ha, like the court gesture or the class clown.
We need more of that in this world.
Just watch your Comedy Central and you'll have more of that in your world.
I notice sometimes in our world, wildlife doing what we consider strange and hilarious activities. Is that you interacting with the animal life and nature that we're seeing through them, or do you sit back and watch them and wonder what they're doing as well?
Both. Mostly we observe because they're a being of Gaia, and now the fourth dimensional plane. Every now and then we use a cloaking technology to appear as we're shape-shifting as one of them, animalis in Latin, animals.
Which animals do you find the most entertaining to watch here on the Earth realm, besides the humans?
Tigers, elephants, reptiles, and we love the ants because we have a tandem partnership with the large ant people.
Are there many parties and celebrations that happen on Inner Earth?
Of course, if you're referring to the ant people, which we are referring to the ant people, there are several different types of civilizations. In upper fourth dimension, fifth dimension on up, ours are mostly interacted with the other insectoids who call themselves the ant people or ant beings. And yes, we have celebrations with them together and work partnerships with them together.
Do you feel with as we're awakening and joining our what we call galactic families, which would mean the mantis people, ant people, the Andromedans, etc., do you feel you are going to be a bridge to connect us with the ant people, or we don't need a bridge and they're waiting to hear from us?
You have actually heard from them earlier today on this other podcast called the Gina Virginia Casella podcast. The ant people came through. The ant people are also here in the background, will come through here as needed and as they feel necessary.
Well, thank you.
Welcome.
If I may ask something of the ant people, I'm curious about this is how do you feel viewing how human beings treat the ants here on our surface realm?
These ants are very, 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 these are the ant people. Very, 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 very distant cousin, even more distant than you as humanoids, because we are humanoids with ant heads. Therefore, we view it as any other being. It's part of the consciousness and part of the all. One of the universal laws, maybe one of the only ones, if you're going to pay attention to any one in particular, not to break, is to impose their free will on another being by quote unquote offing it. However, we do understand that these much smaller versions of ants are considered pests. Even in her backyard with Laura here, she often will step on an anthill because there are many anthills in their pine forests in the backyard, and they will actually bite and attack her. And she does feel bad swatting them off and stepping on them and that kind of thing. However, that's just the way the cookie crumbles. It's nature. Nature knows what's going to happen to nature when it incarnates.
Very true. And as a teenager, I was always told to talk to the Ant King or Ant Queen to make contracts to where the ants will keep boundaries and we will in return respect our side of the boundaries. Is that a true fact, or is that just something we want to tell ourselves to try and communicate when we're not really communicating?
It's not necessarily the fact of not communicating, because if she's getting bitten or just walking by seeing the anthills, she does apologize for stepping on any of them, because it's literally and physically impossible for her to see them all since they're so small. Even if they're not attacking her, she apologizes to hurting them or killing them, offing them each time. And telepathically, they do feel this energy because they are a super colony and have the CFCs with the same scent per each colony, and do recognize this. It doesn't necessarily only have to be to the queen. It can be to the whole super colony or colony. And they do feel this energy, and they do feel this if you are apologetic about, quote unquote, getting rid of them because they are a pest. However, it does not mean that it's in their nature to actually listen and do tricks at your will and bend to your will and do 5 somersaults in the air and to run away and to listen to you per se, because that is not their function in that space. Does that make sense?
It does. And I know that there's spider people and that there's ant people, and I wonder, like termites and other pests, do they have galactic origins as like what we're talking about, or are they a natural pest and it doesn't matter what we do with them per se because we're not inflicting harm on a galactic scale, so to speak?
That is a multi-layered question. We might need a couple repetitions. However, we will start off with everything that's meant to be is meant to be or not meant to be. There is no coincidence. Everything is a soul contract, whether you are meeting this person or being or object, which is all Potter source in some kind of way, period. Second of all, there is no judgment unless you self-impose it, because energy just is and is naturally neutral to neutral positive, period. Any other parts we're missing?
No, and just for clarification, I was curious about like termites, if they are kin or cousin, like, or if they are just something that's here only and is like a pest to you all as well.
They are a pest to everybody, and the arachnids are a whole nother story. There are giant arachnids that can actually seed a planet and quote unquote kill a planet and burrow in 4 days or less, just like the giant ones in the Starship Trooper movies. That screenwriter rather, had some access to information to parallel lives that they had with those beings as the beings. And that is correct. Predatory beings, same thing. However, we're not here to fearmonger. We're just here to educate and answer in the most neutral ways, neutral to neutral ways, positive as possible. Additionally, it doesn't matter if it's a termite or a cockroach or a pest, quote unquote, whether it's seen that way from us or from your viewpoint. Any and every energy and entity and possibility exists out there somewhere, which means that there's an energy out there with termites, as you would say, extra dimensional beings, more appropriately than extraterrestrial beings, really extra dimensional, who see us as pests. So if you can think it, if you can feel it, then the reality is there. All perspectives are valid additionally. So we think they're pests, they think we're pests, depending on the perspective. No matter. It's just an experience.
Thank you.
Welcome.
I'd also like to ask of the ant people. We talked earlier with the jovial mantis about partying and celebrating, and I'd like to take this opportunity to ask, how do you celebrate, and what do you celebrate, and what are parties like for the ant people?
A lot of eating. We all share everything, literally, that we reap, we sow, we share everything. And we are way more of a hive mind than this version of consciousness, which this version of consciousness is estimated and projected to be at in this moment of time, just a projection 100 of your solar years or more. When you're in that hive mind mentality, you're all telepathically, openly linked together. And everything we do, we share, whether it is procreating, mating, as you say, dancing, singing, eating, and the likes.
Thank you.
Welcome.
There are people that are finding amongst what we call the indigenous tribes or the native tribes that were here when we first found the land thousands of years ago. And they have pictures of ant beings and other beings. How interactive were you with our cultures when they first arrived?
Thousands of years in the Southwest, because we do prefer this area. These are the ant beings, just like on Mars. Underground. Underground is our super colony, or as you and we call it, the ant empire. The ant empire extends to interdimensional pathways, which are infinite. Mars and this version of Gaia are just two tiny, 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 tinier than a tiny ant option of this. And we have been here and are here interdimensionally and still are, no matter if it is, as you call, indigenous or someone from somewhere else or a passerby.
Thank you. And so I'd like to ask this one question because it's a mystery on our planet, and I feel as though I know the answer, but I'm just looking for your opinion. As you were observing the Southwest, the Anasazi people, as we call them and reference them, disappeared without a trace, according to history and our sciences. And so I feel like they went to inner Earth. And so, since you were working with them, did you help bring them down into inner Earth, and they're existing down there now?
Yes and no. A faction of them blended with what you call the inner Earth being Lemurians under Mount Shasta, some with us all the way from there down to the Southwest. And another faction went to, as you said, the stars, just like the Mayans.
So, beyond our, say, base, what we would call bases here, do you have colonies out and about, or a planet that you call home?
We do not. Since we are fourth to seventh, eighth, even ninth interdimensional beings with the body as an option, we no longer have a physical planet, as you call it. However, we are dispersed throughout multiple galaxies and universes.
Is that a trait for what we're getting ready to do in our world of raising our vibrations to engage our light body, as we call it, or energy forms, will we as well abandon a planet as calling it home and view ourselves as more galactic or universal?
We're very jovial that you cut onto this because we are from everywhere and nowhere at the same time. We are the all and nothing at the same time, just like you are. It does not mean that you have to leave this planet because you are from everywhere and nowhere at the same time. You can have a planet. You do not necessarily have to abandon a planet or destroy it and only survive in the stars to call yourself an interdimensional being. None of us are extraterrestrials because we were all from Source. We are all Source energy beings.
Thank you. And I have a question that may seem to be touching borderline fear mongering, and I don't intend it to. And that question is, during the Orion Wars, cultures disappeared, and we call it destroyed in our terminology. Were they really destroyed, or did they become energy level beings such as the Jovian Mantis, your tribes, as we would call them?
Jovial Mantis or Ant People answering?
Both can answer.
Both have the same answer. There's no such thing as destruction of a soul fractal of energy. And there's only free will in the universe. Therefore, if a soul fractal chose to leave, just like in your time of COV, we won't spell it out because this does not like that word, just like your time of COV during 2021. If a soul fractal chose to transition to what you call the other side, or some of those might have woken up in a pod if they were extra dimensional, directly having an adventure here, that is their choice and their free will to transition when they want. Same thing like any other time when they transition, whether it's in a quote unquote Orion war or something to that effect.
Thank you. I talked with the Jovial Mantis about this, and I'm wanting to know with you all as well, and kind of lead the show on a fun kind of level and raising fun energy. Is, do ant people have music and celebrate events in your consciousness, or is that something that you've kind of left behind and just enjoy the moment of everything?
As we alluded to earlier, the ant people share everything together, which includes procreation, music, eating of food. Our antennae touch the other ants' antennae. It's a way of showing love and affection. We do have music. It is more of like clicking sound, binary clicking sounds with some of our native non-word sounds, if that makes sense. We do have a banjo type instrument. There's a few other things. We use vibration because we feel the vibrations underground that literally shakes the room. Just some examples.
Thank you for that. And I'm curious, I just saw a flash in my mind of what we would call olden times of television media here on this earth, meaning like 1950s, 1960s, in cartoons or jovial programs. Ant people and mantis people, mole people would be shown on these. Was that your doing to raise awareness that you are here, or was that someone just got lucky and exposed that you are around without your awareness?
No such thing as luck. To suggest luck would suggest that there is a coincidence in something that happens just on the positive light. However, we're not very familiar with these mole people. They do exist because if you can dream it or think it, it is out there in a dimension somewhere. Also, we will reiterate that there are no coincidences. Since there are no coincidences, there is no coincidence that this person tapped into this energy in these quote unquote animations or cartoons or series that you're saying, because nothing is a coincidence. And yes, ant people are real. The mole people are real somewhere. Again, we don't know them. And the mantis people are also real. And mantis people in several variations and colors do come around, in part because of the hybridization program, worked with the grays and reptoids.
Thank you. I have so many more questions for you, but we are unfortunately out of time, as Starseed and I agreed to half-hour time right now. Are open to, we would love to have you back on another session.
We would love to come back next time. This is the jovial collective of insectoids, which you call mantis. This is also the ant people. Much love and peace, man.
Much love and peace to you as well, and thank you for coming and sharing with us. Now, if we can bring Laura back, I would appreciate it.
Whoa. It's like waking up. It's like waking up from a good dream within a dream.
Very cool. Well, thank you all for tuning in today. We will be back in 2 weeks' time, and we will see who comes through. Any parting message or wisdom you would like to share with everyone, Starseed, before we go?
Just that, well, from California, so I'm going to say peace and love.
I like it. Peace and love, everyone. All right. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.